Ellen Grant loved the ocean. She spent her days at the small research station on the California coast. As a marine biologist, she studied the animals and plants that lived in the sea. The station was far from big cities, sitting on tall cliffs above the water. One morning, Ellen was looking at samples under her microscope when alarms started to ring. She ran outside with the other scientists. They saw something huge coming out of the water. It wasn't a whale or any animal Ellen knew. It was a ship, shiny and strange, with lights that changed colors. "What is that?" asked Carl, one of the younger scientists. Ellen shook her head. "I don't know, but I think we should call someone." Before she could reach for her phone, a bright light came from the ship. Then, something even stranger happened. Creatures walked out of the light and onto the beach below. They looked a bit like humans, but their skin was blue-green and shiny like fish scales. They had no hair, and their eyes were large and dark. Their fingers were long, with thin webs between them. They wore what looked like armor made of some clear material that reflected the sunlight. "They're not from Earth," whispered Ellen. Within hours, government officials arrived. News spread quickly across the world. Aliens had come to Earth. They called themselves the Zorlath, and they came from a planet far away. They chose the research station as their first place to meet humans because they too lived mostly in water on their home planet. Ellen was chosen to show the aliens around because she knew about sea life. The leader of the aliens was called Delegate, Zivmara. The delegate was taller than the others and had markings on its face. "Your facility is interesting," Zivmara said in perfect English. The aliens had learned human languages by listening to radio and TV signals from Earth for many years. Ellen tried to be polite. "Thank you. We're proud of our work here." The delegate made a sound like bubbles in water. The other aliens did the same. Ellen realized they were laughing. "What's funny?" she asked. "Your technology is so simple," Zivmara said. "We solved these basic problems thousands of years ago." Ellen felt her face get hot, but she stayed calm. "We're always learning and improving." As they walked through the station, they came to the emergency equipment room. Inside were fire extinguishers, first aid kits, and rescue gear. Zivmara picked up a fire extinguisher. "What is this primitive device?" "It puts out fires," Ellen explained. "We keep them around the station in case of emergency." The delegate laughed again. "You still have fires? Why not just use flame-proof materials for everything?" "We do where we can, but accidents still happen," Ellen said. They continued to the wall where pictures of the station's emergency team hung. Some showed firefighters training. "These humans run into dangerous places to help others?" Zivmara asked, pointing at a picture of firefighters entering a burning building. "Yes," Ellen said with pride. "They're first responders. They save people who are in danger." All the aliens started making the bubbling laugh sound again. "What's so funny about saving lives?" Ellen asked, trying not to sound angry. "It's not smart," Zivmara said. "Why would any intelligent being risk their life for strangers? On our world, only family would help family, and even then, not if the risk was too great." "That's how we are," Ellen said. "Humans help humans. And not just humans, we rescue animals too." The delegate shook its head. "Foolish. No wonder your species is still so primitive. You waste resources saving the weak instead of letting nature take its course." Ellen wanted to argue, but she knew she had to be diplomatic. These aliens could have technology that would help Earth. She had to be patient. What she didn't know was that patience would soon run out. In the lower levels of the station, something was about to go very wrong. Image description for Leonardo AI. A female marine biologist with auburn hair and a lab coat faces tall, blue-green skinned aliens with webbed hands and reflective armor. They stand in a research facility emergency room with fire extinguishers visible on the wall. The alien leader looks mockingly at a photo of firefighters while the biologist appears defensive but composed. Ocean visible through large windows in background. The next morning, a white Coast Guard boat approached the research station. Lieutenant Alan West stood tall at the front. He had short brown hair and wore a clean white uniform. 5 other Coast Guard members were with him. Ellen went to the dock to meet them. Welcome to our station, Lieutenant West. Alan shook her hand. Dr. Grant, we're here for our scheduled safety inspection, but I also wanted to see these visitors everyone is talking about. The Zorlath? They're interesting, Ellen said carefully. Just be ready. They can be rude about our ways. As they walked up from the dock, dark clouds gathered over the ocean. The wind was getting stronger. Looks like a storm is coming, Alan said, looking at the sky. Might be a big one. Inside the main building, the aliens were studying human technology. Delegate Ziv Mara looked up when Ellen and Alan entered. Who is this human? The alien asked. This is Lieutenant Alan West from the Coast Guard, Ellen explained. They're here for a safety check. Coast Guard? Ziv Mara's large eyes blinked, slowly. What is this Guard of Coasts? Alan stepped forward. We patrol the waters, enforce laws, and most importantly, we rescue people in trouble at sea. The aliens made their bubbling laugh sound again. More rescuers, Ziv Mara said. Your species is obsessed with saving each other. On our planet, anyone who cannot save themselves is not worth saving. Alan's face turned serious. With all due respect, that's not how we do things here. No one gets left behind if we can help it. The alien waved a webbed hand. Wasted effort. Your Coast Guard should focus on more important things. Before Alan could answer, Sofia Rodriguez, the station's engineer, burst into the room. Her clothes were dirty and she looked worried. Dr. Grant, there's something wrong with the power system, she said. I'm seeing strange readings from the experimental core. The research station used a new type of power generator. It was still being tested. How serious is it? Ellen asked. I'm not sure yet, Sophia said. But the pressure levels are higher than they should be. And with this storm coming, Ziv Mara interrupted. Your primitive power systems are of no concern. They cannot be truly dangerous. Sophia looked at the alien with frustration. With all respect, Delegate, you don't understand. Our technology, just because it's different from yours doesn't mean the dangers aren't real. Show me these problems, the alien said with what sounded like boredom. Sophia led them to the control room. Screens showed numbers and graphs that were flashing. Red. See these readings? Sophia pointed. The core temperature is rising and the cooling system isn't keeping up. I think we should shut it down until after the storm passes. Ziv Mara looked at the screens. Your concerns are excessive. Our ships have survived space storms 1,000 times stronger than your little weather. This isn't about the storm itself, Sophia argued. It's about how our systems might react to power surges if lightning hits. The alien turned away. Do what you wish with your simple machines. We will be safe regardless. Alan stepped closer. To the screens. I think Sophia's right. Better safe than sorry. I'll start emergency procedures, Sophia said, typing quickly. But it will take time to power down safely. Outside, the storm grew stronger. Lightning flashed across the dark sky. Inside, Sophia worked to shut down the core while Ellen showed Alan and his team the rest of the station. At the upper level, they could see the ocean through big windows. Huge waves crashed against the cliffs below. Communications might go down if this keeps up, Alan warned. None of them knew that it was already too late for a simple shutdown. Deep in the lower levels, where the experimental core hummed with energy, something was about to break. Image description for Leonardo AI. A Coast Guard lieutenant in white uniform confronts a tall, blue-green alien with webbed hands in a high-tech control room. Behind them, a Hispanic female engineer points urgently at flashing red warning screens. Through large windows, a violent storm approaches over dark, churning ocean waters. The alien's posture shows dismissal, while the human characters appear concerned and determined. A loud boom shook the entire research station. The lights went out for a second before emergency power came on, making everything glow red. What was that? Ellen asked, grabbing the wall to stay standing. Sophia's voice came through the speakers. The core, it's overloaded. We have multiple explosions in the lower levels. Alan rushed to the window. Smoke was coming from a vent on the side of the building. We need to evacuate now, he said firmly. Ellen looked at the aliens. For the first time, She saw fear in their big eyes. Delegate Zivmara was speaking quickly into a small device in their language. "What are you doing?" Ellen asked. "Calling our ship," the alien said. "We must leave this dangerous place." Alan shook his head. "There's no time. The dock is too far, and the storm is too strong. We need to get everyone to safety inside the building, away from the damaged areas." Another explosion rocked the station. This one was bigger. They heard glass breaking and people screaming from below. "There are people trapped in the lower labs," Sophia said over the speakers. "The fire doors closed automatically. They can't get out, and water is coming in from the damaged seawall." Ellen felt sick. The lower labs were where most of the scientists worked. Some of the Zorlath were down there too, learning about Earth's oceans. Alan immediately took charge. "I need a map of the building," he told Ellen. She pulled one up on a tablet and handed it to him. "My team will split up," Alan said. "Two will help get everyone in the upper levels to the safe zone. The rest of us will go down to rescue those trapped below." Zivmara stared at Alan. "Go down? There are fires and flooding. Why would you go toward the danger?" "Because people need help," Alan said simply. "But some of them are not even your species," the alien argued. "Some are our junior delegates." "Doesn't matter," Alan replied, already gathering emergency equipment from a nearby cabinet. "Everyone gets saved. That's how we do things." The alien seemed confused. "This is not logical." Alan didn't have time to explain. He and 3 of his Coast Guard team put on breathing masks and grabbed flashlights. They found fire extinguishers and first aid kits. "Sophia," Alan called out, "can you guide us through the least damaged route?" "Yes," she answered. "But it's bad down there, Alan, really bad." Ellen stepped forward. "I'm coming too. I know the layout of the labs better than anyone." Zivmara watched in disbelief. "You would risk your life as well? For what purpose?" "They're my colleagues, my friends," Ellen said. "Some are your people too." The alien seemed to struggle with this idea. Then something unexpected happened. One of the younger aliens stepped forward. "I will assist," it said. "I have studied your building. I can help." Zivmara spoke sharply in their language, but the young alien stood firm. "We cannot simply leave our own people," it said. Alan nodded. "Thank you. What's your name?" "I am called Nivtal," the alien said. As they prepared to go down to the dangerous levels, Sophia's voice came through again, more urgent now. "The fire is spreading, and the seawater is rising on level 3. Anyone in the marine lab will drown if they're not helped soon." Alan looked at his team, Ellen and Nivtal. "Ready?" They nodded. "Stay together. Move quickly but carefully." "Our job is to get everyone out alive," Alan said. As they headed for the stairs, Zivmara called out, "This is foolishness. You will die for nothing." Alan turned back one last time. "If we die saving others, then it's not for nothing." Then they disappeared into the smoke-filled stairwell, heading down toward the flames and rising water. Image description for Leonardo AI. A dramatic scene inside a damaged research facility. With red emergency lighting, a Coast Guard lieutenant in a breathing mask leads a team toward a smoke-filled stairwell. Beside him stands a determined female scientist and a hesitant young blue-skinned alien. In the background, an older alien delegate watches in disbelief as fires rage visible through broken windows. Water is beginning to flood the lower level visible through glass floors, and warning lights flash on damaged control panels throughout the room. The stairwell was hot and filled with smoke. Alan led the way, shining his flashlight through the darkness. Ellen and Nivtal followed close behind, with 2 Coast Guard members at the back. Each step took them deeper into danger. "Sophia, can you hear me?" Alan spoke into his radio. "I hear you," Sophia answered. "The marine lab on level 3 has 7 people trapped. The water is rising fast." "We're heading there first," Alan said. They reached level 3, where water was already ankle-deep. The door to the marine lab was jammed. Alan and one of the Coast Guard members pushed against it until it opened. Inside, they found 5 human scientists and 2 young Zorlith huddled on a counter away from the rising water. "Coast Guard, we're here to help," Alan called out. The relief on the faces of the trapped people was clear. The two young aliens looked surprised to see Nivtal. "You came for us?" one of them asked in disbelief. "Of course," Nivtal replied. "These humans showed me it was the right thing to do." They quickly led the rescued group back to the stairs. The water was rising faster now. "Get them to the upper level safe zone," Alan told one of his team members. "We'll continue down to level 4. There are more people trapped there." Ellen was worried. "Level 4 is where the fire started. It will be much worse." "All the more reason to hurry," Alan said. As the first group headed up, Alan, Ellen, Nivtal, and the remaining Coast Guard member continued down. The smoke grew thicker and they could feel intense heat from below. When they reached level 4, flames blocked the main hallway. They could hear cries for help beyond the fire. "Is there another way around?" Alan asked Ellen. She thought quickly. "The maintenance tunnel. It runs parallel to this hallway. The entrance is back near the stairs." They found the narrow tunnel and crawled through. It was hot and tight, but they made it to the other side of the flames. There, they found the chemistry lab. Inside were 4 more scientists and another Zorlath delegate, all trapped by fallen equipment blocking the door. Working together, they cleared the path. The Zorlath delegate stared at Nivtal and the humans in confusion. "You risked the flames to save us?" the delegate asked. "Every life matters," Alan said simply, helping an injured scientist to her feet. Suddenly, part of the ceiling collapsed behind them, blocking their way back to the tunnel. They were trapped. "Sophia," Ellen called into her radio. "We're cut off." "Is there another way out from level 4? Static answered her. The radio was no longer working. "The emergency exit," one of the scientists said weakly. "At the end of the hall." Alan nodded. "Let's move. Stay low to avoid the smoke." They made their way carefully through the burning hallway. The heat was intense, and breathing was difficult, even with their masks. One of the scientists stumbled and Alan immediately picked him up, carrying him over his shoulder. The Zorlath delegate watched this with growing understanding. When another scientist started to fall behind, the alien stepped forward and helped support her. They reached the emergency exit only to find it blocked by debris from the explosion. Hope began to fade. "We need to find another way," Alan said, refusing to give up. Back in the upper levels, Delegate Zivmara watched the monitoring screens with the remaining Coast Guard team. They could see the heat signatures of those trapped below. "They cannot escape," Zivmara said. "Yet they still try to save each other." "Why?" One of the Coast Guard members looked at the alien. "Because that's what humans do. We don't leave people behind." For the first time, Zivmara seemed to consider these words carefully. The alien looked at the screen again, watching as Alan and the others searched for another escape route. "Perhaps," Zivmara said slowly, "there is something to learn from humans after all." The alien turned to the Coast Guard team. "I will help you save them." Image description for Leonardo AI. Inside a burning research facility with smoke-filled corridors, a Coast Guard lieutenant carries an injured scientist on his shoulder while leading a group through flames. A female biologist uses a flashlight to illuminate their path. A young blue-skinned alien helps support another injured human. Water floods the lower portion of the hallway, reflecting the orange glow of the fire. Emergency lights cast an eerie red glow through the thick smoke. Fallen debris blocks their escape route while the group looks desperately for another way out. Delegate Zivmara moved quickly through the upper levels, followed by the Coast Guard team. The alien carried a small silver device. "Our technology can help," Zivmara explained. "This will strengthen the structure and clear a path through the debris." They reached a service elevator that was still working. The Coast Guard member looked uncertain. "We're not supposed to use elevators during a fire," she said. "Your rules make sense for your technology," Zivmara replied. "But this elevator has been reinforced with our materials. It will be safe." They took the elevator down to level 4. The heat hit them immediately when the doors opened. Through the thick smoke, they could see the faint glow of flashlights where Alan's team was trapped. Meanwhile, Alan and his group were running out of options. The air was getting worse, even with their masks. 2 of the scientists were having trouble breathing. "We need to find a way out fast," Alan said, looking around desperately. Ellen checked the wall panels. Maybe we could break through to the next room. The lab walls aren't as strong as the outer walls. Just as they were about to try, they heard a strange humming sound. Part of the debris blocking their path began to glow blue. "Stand back," Alan warned, pulling everyone away. The debris suddenly dissolved, revealing Delegate Ziv Mara and the Coast Guard team on the other side. "You came back for us," Ellen said, surprised to see the alien leader. "I have reconsidered my position," Ziv Mara said. "Your ways may have merit after all." There was no time for more talk. They needed to get everyone to safety. Ziv Mara used the device to clear a path back to the elevator. "We cannot all fit at once," the alien said, looking at the elevator. "The most injured go first," Alan decided. They sent up the first group, including the injured scientists. While waiting for the elevator to return, part of the ceiling began to crack above them. "Look out," Ellen shouted. The ceiling collapsed. Alan pushed one of the scientists out of the way, but the falling debris hit him instead. He fell to the ground, trapped under a heavy beam. Without hesitation, Ziv Mara and Nivtal rushed forward. Using their alien strength, they lifted the beam, while Ellen and the Coast Guard member pulled Alan free. "My leg," Alan said through gritted teeth. His leg was badly injured. The elevator returned, and they helped Alan inside. Only Ellen, Ziv Mara, Nivtal, and one scientist remained behind to wait for the next trip. As the elevator doors closed, a massive explosion rocked the building. The force knocked them all to the ground. The elevator shaft groaned and twisted. "Elevator cables are damaged," Ziv Mara said, looking up. "It may reach the top, but it will not come back down." They were now truly trapped, with the fire growing stronger around them. Ellen looked at the aliens. "I'm sorry you got stuck here trying to help us." Ziv Mara's expression changed. "Do not apologize. For the first time, I understand what drives your kind. The willingness to face danger for others. It is not weakness as we thought. It is a different kind of strength." The scientist with them was losing hope. "We're not going to make it, are we? We are not defeated yet," Nivtal said firmly, sounding more like the humans now. "There must be another way." Ziv Mara thought for a moment, then pulled out a small communication device. "I will contact our ship. Our people have avoided involvement, but I will order them to help now." The alien spoke urgently into the device in their own language. The others watched, hoping for a miracle as the flames crept closer. Up in the safe zone, Alan was being treated for his injuries. Despite his pain, he kept asking about those still trapped below. "We need to go back for them," he insisted, trying to get up. Sophia put a hand on his shoulder. "The structure is too unstable now. We need another solution." Outside, through the windows, they suddenly saw a bright light. The Zorlath ship was moving closer to the research station, hovering over the ocean despite the raging storm. "They're coming to help," Alan realized, hope returning to his eyes. Image description for Leonardo AI. A dramatic scene in a collapsing research facility. The tall blue-green alien delegate Ziv Mara uses a glowing silver device to clear burning debris while a female scientist and young alien help an injured Coast Guard lieutenant with a bleeding leg. Smoke fills the air as flames spread around them. Part of the ceiling has collapsed and a damaged elevator with twisted cables is visible. Through a cracked window, a large alien spacecraft hovers over stormy ocean waters, casting a bright blue light into the burning building. Emergency lights flash red through the smoke, and the expressions on all faces show determination mixed with fear. The Zorlath ship hovered outside the burning research station. Bright blue beams of light shot from it, cutting through the storm. Inside the ship, the Zorlath crew prepared for a rescue unlike anything they had done before. Back in the burning level 4, Ellen, Ziv Mara, Nivtal, and the scientist huddled together as the flames grew closer. The air was getting harder to breathe. "My people are coming," Ziv Mara assured them. "They have technology that can help." Ellen looked at the alien leader. "Why did you change your mind about helping us?" Ziv Mara's large eyes reflected the orange glow of the fire. "For thousands of years, we believed that risking oneself for others was foolish, but watching your Lieutenant Alan and his team, I saw something we have lost. There is power in your willingness to help others. Real strength. Their conversation was cut short as a section of wall near them began to glow with blue light. The material seemed to melt away, revealing two Zorlath. In special suits standing on a platform outside the building, they were floating in the air held up by some invisible force. "Come quickly," one of the alien rescuers called. Ziv Mara helped the scientist onto the platform first. "Go. You are injured." Once the scientist was safely aboard, Ellen prepared to step on. "You next," Ziv Mara told her. Ellen shook her head. "No, I'll go last. I still have my breathing mask." Nivtal stepped forward. "I will help the delegate. You should go." Before they could argue more, another explosion shook the building. The floor beneath Ellen's feet cracked. She fell backward, away from the rescue platform. Without hesitation, Nivtal jumped after her, catching her arm before she could fall into the growing gap in the floor. Fire shot up through the opening from the level below. Ziv Mara reached out, grabbing both of them. With strength surprising for their thin frame, the alien leader pulled Ellen and Nivtal back to safety. "We must hurry," the rescuers called. "The building structure is failing." Together they made it onto the platform. The invisible force field around it protected them from the heat and smoke as they moved away from the building. They were carried through the air to the Zorlath ship hovering above the ocean. Inside the ship they found the others who had been rescued. Medical care was being given to the injured humans. Alan sat on a bed, his leg wrapped in a glowing blue bandage. "Ellen," he called when he saw her. "You made it." She rushed over to him. "Is everyone accounted for?" Alan nodded. "Every single person from the research station is safe. Your friend Sophia was the last one they brought up from the control room." Ellen felt relief wash over her. She turned to thank Ziv Mara, but the alien leader was deep in conversation with other Zorlath. They seemed to be arguing. Nivtal approached Ellen. "The delegate is ordering our medical team to share healing technology with your injured. This is not normal practice, some disagree." Ellen watched as Ziv Mara's voice grew louder, more insistent. Finally, the other aliens nodded and moved toward the injured humans with strange devices. Ziv Mara came over to Ellen and Alan. "Your injuries will be treated with our methods. The healing will be faster." "Thank you," Alan said. "But why? Earlier you thought we were foolish for helping each other." The alien was quiet for a moment. "When I watched you go into that burning building for strangers, I thought it was wasteful, illogical. But then I saw how you worked together, how you supported each other. There is power in your way." Through the ship's windows they could see the research station. Parts of it were now collapsing into the ocean as the fire consumed it. "On our world," Ziv Mara continued, "we have removed danger with technology. But perhaps we removed something valuable too. The bonds that form when beings face danger together and help each other survive." The ship rose higher above the storm. Everyone gathered at the windows, watching the remains of the research station. Humans and aliens stood side by side, no longer separated by their differences but united by what they had just lived through together. Image description for Leonardo AI. Inside a high-tech alien spacecraft with blue glowing technology and curved walls. A group of rescued humans and blue-skinned aliens stand together looking out large windows at a burning research facility, partially collapsing into stormy ocean waters below. In the foreground, a tall alien delegate places a hand on the shoulder of an injured Coast Guard officer, whose leg is wrapped in a glowing blue bandage. A female scientist stands beside them, looking relieved yet concerned. The alien medical team works with strange devices healing injured humans, while outside lightning flashes illuminating the destroyed facility. The expressions of both humans and aliens show a mixture of awe, relief, and new understanding. 1 week after the disaster, the survivors gathered on a beach near the ruins of the research station. The storm had passed, and the sun shone brightly over the ocean. The Zorlath ship floated above the water, its silver surface reflecting the sunlight. Ellen stood with Alan, whose leg was fully healed thanks to the alien medicine. Sophia was there too, along with all the other scientists and Coast Guard members. The Zorlath delegates stood in a group nearby, looking different than before. They seemed less stiff, more relaxed around the humans. Delegate Zivmara stepped forward, facing the gathered humans. "We came to your world believing we were superior. We mocked your ways and your willingness to risk yourselves for others. We were wrong." The alien looked out at the water where parts of the research station could still be seen. "In the fire, we learned that there is strength in helping others. This is a lesson our people had forgotten long ago." Ellen nodded. "Different doesn't always mean better or worse, just different. We would like to learn more from your people," Zivmara continued, "especially from those you call first responders, the firefighters, the rescue workers, the Coast Guard." Alan smiled, still surprised by the change in the aliens. "I'm sure arrangements can be made." Nivtal approached them. The young alien now wore a small Coast Guard pin on its clothing, a gift from one of Alan's team. "I have spoken with our leaders," Nivtal said. "They have agreed to form a new division in our society. We will learn from your emergency services and create our own." "You mean Zorlath firefighters and rescue workers?" Sophia asked. "Yes," Nivtal replied. "We had removed all danger from our world with technology, but we lost something important in doing so. We lost the connection that comes from helping each other in times of need." Government officials had arrived to discuss the future of human-Zorlath relations. They were talking with other alien leaders at the edge of the beach. "They want to rebuild the research station," Ellen told the others. "Bigger and better than before. It will be a place where both our species can work together." Alan looked at the alien ship. "Will you stay on Earth?" "Some will stay," Zivmara said. "Others will return home to share what we have learned, but we will maintain contact between our worlds." As they talked, a small fire broke out in one of the temporary shelters set up on the beach. Before anyone could react, both humans and Zorlath moved toward it. Working side by side, they quickly put out the flames. Ellen watched with a smile. Just a week ago, the aliens would have stood back, watching and judging. Now they rushed to help without hesitation. Later that evening, as the sun set over the ocean, Ellen sat with Alan on the beach. The Zorlath ship glowed softly in the twilight. "Do you think they'll really change?" Ellen asked. "Or will they forget once they go back to their world?" Alan looked at Nivtal and several other young Zorlath, who were listening intently as a Coast Guard member explained rescue techniques. "I think they've already changed," he said. "They saw something in us that woke up something in them. Something they had lost." Ellen nodded. "Courage, compassion, the willingness to put others first. Things worth more than any technology," Alan added. In the distance, Delegate Zivmara was speaking with government officials. They were discussing plans for a joint human-Zorlath emergency response team that could handle disasters on both worlds. The idea that had started in fire and danger was growing into something beautiful. Two different species learning from each other, becoming better together. As darkness fell, the stars came out above them. Ellen looked up, thinking about how the universe had suddenly become both bigger and smaller. Bigger because they now knew other intelligent life existed. Smaller because they had found a connection across the stars, the shared value of helping others, of running toward danger when lives were at stake. Image description for Leonardo AI. A sunset beach scene with ruins of a research facility visible in the ocean background. In the foreground, humans in Coast Guard uniforms and casual clothes stand together with blue-skinned aliens with webbed hands. A female scientist and heeled Coast Guard lieutenant sit on the sand watching the scene. A young alien proudly wears a Coast Guard pin while learning rescue techniques from humans. Government officials shake hands with the tall alien delegate. Above them hovers a large silver alien spacecraft reflecting the orange sunset. The expressions on both human and alien faces show newfound respect and understanding. Small campfires dot the beach as night begins to fall and stars appear in the darkening sky. 6 months later, a new research station stood on the cliff. It was bigger and more beautiful than the old one. Humans and Zorlath worked side by side in its shiny labs and meeting rooms. Above the main entrance, a sign read, United Earth Zorlath Research Center. Ellen walked through the hallways, still amazed at how much had changed. She now led a team of both human and alien scientists. They studied the oceans of both worlds, sharing knowledge that would help everyone. She stopped at a special room with a glass wall. Inside, Alan was teaching a class. Around him stood 20 young Zorlath, all wearing modified Coast Guard training uniforms. They watched carefully as he showed them how to tie rescue knots. "Our first class of Zorlath emergency responders," said a familiar voice behind Ellen. She turned to see Delegate Ziv Mara. The alien leader looked different now, more relaxed and friendly. "They're learning quickly," Ellen said. Ziv Mara nodded. "They are eager. This idea of helping others, it has spread rapidly among our younger generation." On the wall of the training room hung pictures of the fire that had destroyed the old station. There were also photos of human firefighters, rescue workers, and medical teams from around the world. The Zorlath students often stopped to look at these images. "We have started building emergency response centers on our world," Ziv Mara told Ellen. "For thousands of years, we relied only on technology to keep us safe. When systems failed, we had no backup plan. No one trained to help. And now?" Ellen asked. "Now we prepare, as you do," the alien said with pride. "We train our people to face danger and help others." An alarm suddenly rang through the building. Both humans and Zorlath stopped what they were doing, looking up. "Attention all personnel," said Sophia's voice over the speakers. "This is a drill. Wildfire approaching from the south. Emergency teams report to stations." The Zorlath students in Alan's class jumped up, excited. This was their first full emergency drill. Alan opened a door to the equipment room, where special suits and gear waited. The suits were designed to fit both human and alien bodies. Ellen and Ziv Mara watched as humans and aliens hurried through the halls. There was no panic, only purpose. Everyone knew their job. Outside, Nivtal waited with a team of mixed human and Zorlath firefighters. The young alien now served as a liaison between the two species. They had set up a controlled fire in a safe area for the drill. Alan led his students outside. They moved with confidence now, so different from the scared aliens who had once mocked human courage. One young Zorlath seemed nervous, holding back as the others prepared to face the flames. Alan noticed and walked over. "It's normal to be afraid," he said kindly. "Fear keeps you alert. But remember, you're not alone. We face danger together." The young alien looked at the flames, then at the human and Zorlath teams working side by side. "Why do we run toward danger when others run away?" the student asked. Alan smiled. It was the same question Ziv Mara had asked months ago. "Because that's who we are now," he said simply. "Both humans and Zorlath. We protect. We save. We help." The student straightened up, new determination in its eyes. Alan nodded and turned to the whole group. "Ready?" he called out. Humans and aliens answered as one. "Ready." Together, they moved toward the controlled fire, working in perfect harmony. From a distance, it was hard to tell which were human and which were alien. They were simply rescuers united by a shared purpose. Ellen and Ziv Mara watched with pride. What had started with mockery had turned into respect. What had begun in flames had forged a bond between two worlds. "They called us foolish for risking ourselves for others," Ziv Mara said softly. "Now we understand it was our greatest wisdom, all along." Image description for Leonardo AI. A futuristic research center built into coastal cliffs with large windows overlooking the ocean. In the foreground, a diverse team of humans and blue-skinned aliens in matching emergency response uniforms move toward a controlled training fire. A Coast Guard lieutenant leads the group while a tall alien delegate and female scientist watch proudly from a viewing platform. Young alien trainees carry human-designed firefighting equipment while working alongside their human counterparts. The setting sun creates a dramatic backdrop, illuminating both species with the same golden light as they face the flames together. Signs in both human and alien writing mark the building as the United Earth Zorlath Research Center.